frontier. In this edition of Niagara News TV, we'll try to figure out who won the mayoral debate. Is Irene Elia too far to the right? Is Irene Elia too far out?
With high ethical and moral values, so help me God.
Can Barbara Girasitano survive in a battle of big spenders? With frequent references to God.
And God didn't make us in isolation. He said, I'm going to give you each a talent. And you don't have all that talent. You're going to have to work with one another to bring it all together.
Some voters wonder if a former nun can separate church and state. What did John Accardo say to get the evil eye from the mayor? The mayor did nothing to endear himself to Democrats by showing his compassion for the previous Republican mayor, Jake Palillo.
After being the mayor myself for 3.5 years, I really found out that my predecessor really tried to move things forward, but everything he tried, the council fought him on.
Not once, but twice.
But we both had the same constant. Mayor Palillo before me and Mayor Galley now. And I really think if you look at the makeup of the council, and I don't say every council member, look at the makeup, who run for mayor, who lost, this is what we're dealing with.
And of course there's no love lost for the firemen.
We tried to make some concessions with the fire department. They didn't want to work with us. They don't want to come to the table.
How does Barbara Ann feel about her Republican primary contender?
The position of mayor should be filled by a person who has served and has experience in government. It is not an entry-level position. There's no time for on-the-job training.
We're also doing an expose on 3rd District Legislator Sam Graneri.
How often does Daddy beat you?
We're going to check out Niagara Falls' first annual Jazz and Blues Festival. We're going to tell you where the best steak hoagies in town are, and later in the program, tell you how to enter our funny political campaign video contest. These features and more on Niagara News Television. It seemed appropriate that Ms. Girasitano and Ms. Elia were at opposite ends of the table. Their dress seemed to match their persona.
I feel the council has worked very well together, and I'll speak for myself as one who's always served in the minority, and yet I have managed to work with my colleagues. They have supported resolutions that I have put forth with them. What the solution is, I think you have to get someone in the mayor's office who shows they have been compatible with the council, and then I think you're going to have a good working relationship.
Ms. Girasitano's sparkling eyes and bright colors lit up the auditorium. She seemed comfortable in front of the public and media. Ms. Elia was dressed in business gray and at times seemed tense and shrill.
And my friends, on January 1, as I place my hand on my family Bible, accepting the responsibility of Chief Executive Officer of this beautiful city, be assured that I will pledge that together we will get down to the business of rebuilding our wonderful city so that it is strong, prosperous, family-oriented, with high ethical and moral values, so help me God.
John Accardo and the mayor went toe-to-toe, with Accardo getting the biggest laugh, which seemed to irritate the mayor.
As a mayor, I don't want to have my name on plaques and monuments strewn throughout the city. I want to be remembered as a mayor that rebuilds the city of Niagara Falls. Thank you.
Many observers thought it unusual to see a candidate chewing gum during a debate. Most observers thought their candidate won the debate, but the most interesting question overheard among those present was, who is scarier, Irene Elia or Vince Anello? So we interviewed Councilman Anello and found him to be accommodating, friendly, and articulate.
My passion for the charter, developed after I had been in the council for about a year, because it just seemed to me that there were a lot of opinions given by members of the council from previous years, and also from the law department, and from people who have experience with the city government. It always seemed there was a certain amount of ambiguity of what people remembered, or what people thought the law should be, or the rules should be. So when I started looking into the rules myself, what I found is that we have a set of rules, but not too many people were referring to it. They were committing things to memory. So when I could get the charter for myself, a copy of the charter for myself, I found that the original charter, the 1916 charter, was sitting in the cardboard box, and the charter that was accepted by the voters was in a pamphlet form, and we had to refer either to the pamphlet or to the old charter. And I thought that was kind of cumbersome. And by asking a lot of questions, what I found out is that the charter was supposed to be codified, which meant that both the 1916 charter and the charter that was approved by the voters were supposed to be melded together to have one document that we could all refer to. And really, that's been my, my passion has been just trying to give one rule book that we can all work by. And I feel very comfortable with the effort, and I truly believe that when people understand what the effort was all about, that people realize that without the rule book, we really cannot, move forward. I was chairman for 2 years.
And you're not going to be chairman again, or you're going to?
No, because I'm going to concentrate on my campaign.
Okay. We'll talk about that.
Okay. Well, being chairman for 2 years certainly gave me a different perspective on the business of city government. They gave me the opportunity to have more in-depth discussions with department heads, more in-depth discussions with the law department, and certainly I have to tell you that for 18 months as chairman, and maybe closer to 20 months, I met with Mayor Galley at least 2 times a week, and most of the time 3 and 4 times a week. And I don't think there was a week of while I was chairman in the first 20 months that I didn't meet with either the administrator or Mayor Galley and sit down and discuss issues. Unfortunately, what I believe happened is that I saw his views being more, it's my idea, you guys can either come along, or get lost. And I felt that since I represented the city of Niagara Falls at large, I felt I had just as much right, so did my council colleagues, to express our opinions and our feelings about certain issues. So we were never given the opportunity to sit at the table with Mayor Galley to discuss the issues. It was always a messenger bringing the news, whether it was me as chairman, or now Connie Lazinski as chairperson, or just from another colleague. It was always messengers. It was never the mayor sitting at the table discussing issues. And I can tell you it's been 3.5 years, and the mayor not once has sat down with the council to discuss any issue. It's always been through a department head or through messengers. Well, I believe that one of the reasons I'm supporting John Accardo is for the simple reason that being on the council for 3.5 years, I'm now totally convinced that the only way this form of government does work is by working together. And I believe that John Accardo has the personality and the know-how, the people skills that can bring the council and the administration at the same table to discuss and develop issues to where it becomes issues for the city of Niagara Falls, and not necessarily issues that are identified with one personality or another.
I have enjoyed serving my community over the years. I have probably credited to myself about 30 years of community service. At one time, the YWCA was having a problem, and I was president of the South End Business Alliance, and went down and offered my assistance to them when they were in a financial bind. Stood out in the middle of the streets with them. We collected money in buckets, and we weren't able to save the agency, but I will say I met a lot of great people. I didn't come from a wealthy family in the city of Niagara Falls. I was born and raised in the LaSalle area, and my father worked at Union Carbide and raised 7 children. And I'm very proud to say he was a hard-working man. And no, we didn't have the best of everything, but we all enjoyed each other. We were a very good, close-knit family, and this is what I like to see, the family structure being in the city of Niagara Falls. It doesn't take money. What it takes is working together and staying together, and that's what government should be. everyone working together. And that is my goal, and that's my objective for government in the city of Niagara Falls. Because I have children and grandchildren and have raised my 2 boys in the city of Niagara Falls, I'm very concerned for many of the other youth of the city. And I think you have to have a family structure. You have to have children in order to realize the needs of those young people. And if you don't experience the joy of having children around, you can't really fill in that void with just work or seeking public office or anything like that. I think you have to have the feeling in your heart, and you have to be concerned for those young people and what they're missing out on today. The joys that we had years back when there were many family entertainment situations in the city of Niagara. I want to see that returned. I want to satisfy the youth of the city. I want them to enjoy what we did. Good family entertainment and a place where they can meet and socialize with their friends. And I include my grandchildren in that and my own family. But if you don't have that family structure, you don't really know what the needs are. I attended council meetings way back when Mayor Lackey was our mayor, and through the O'Loughlin administration and all, and serving with the business organization and dealing with government on all levels. And this kind of prompted me to say, well, I'm always standing here on the other side of the microphone. Maybe if I'm up there on that side of the microphone, I can accomplish a little more for our city. And this really started me into seeking public office way back in 1983. And of course, there was never a woman elected in the city of Niagara Falls, and the odds were against me. So I ran in 83, not successful. Came back and I said, well, I'm not a quitter. Let's go again in 85. Ran again in 85. Wasn't successful then either. So, well, maybe they say 3 times and out, maybe 3 times will be the charm. So I ran again in 1987, and guess what? The 3 time, it was a charm. I was the first woman elected to serve in government in the city of Niagara Falls in 100 years. Sworn into office January 1st, 1988. Very proud when I stood that day and took my oath of office and opened the door for other women in the community to seek a position in government, and showing that I could work very well with my 6 male colleagues. And it has worked out very well for me, and many other women have come forth and are seeking positions now on the council. Connie Lozinski ran after I did, and she was elected. So ladies out there, don't hesitate. Come forth. You can serve your community just as well as the gentleman can, and I think we can prove that. We're kind of the people in the household who manage the budget, and we kind of take care of things in the home and run the household and take care of the families. And speaking of families, I have 2 sons, I have 4 grandchildren, and a new grandson. And I'm very proud to say that they're all still in Niagara Falls. And I want them to remain here and be close to me so that I can enjoy my family. And I know many of you don't have the same experience that I do in having your family around, because we haven't had the jobs that are enabling those young people to stay in the city. But let's change administrations. Let's rebuild our city. Let's bring those jobs back, and let's bring our families all back together. It doesn't take money. What it takes is working together and staying together, and that's what government should be. Everyone working together. And that is my goal, and that's my objective for government in the city of Niagara Falls. The position of mayor in Niagara Falls is a very important position. I feel that the person who you are going to select to be your mayor must have not only a business background, I think they need a government background. By that I mean they should have served in government to become familiar with the departments in the city of Niagara Falls, the operation of government, and also the very important budget work sessions that we must sit through for 2 months of the year. This is not an entry-level position. There are those who are interested in coming in who have never served in government, who have never really been in attendance at council meetings or budget sessions. There is not time, with the condition the city of Niagara Falls is in today, to have any on-the-job training. You must look very closely at the candidates and look at their record of service and their record of voting and what resolutions they have placed before the council that are in your favor, the citizen and the taxpayer. I'm proud of my record. I served 8 years without missing one meeting, so I am conscientious. I'm a dedicated individual once I have accepted a position, and that tells you that as your mayor, I will be there every day. I will be there to look at what complaints are coming in from the citizens, and also I will be there to check on the supervisors being the department heads. Those are the people who are responsible for running the department. I never point my finger at the worker. The worker is that person that works under the supervisor. So the department heads in the city of Niagara Falls should be qualified. That's a big word that I feel has not been fulfilled by the present administration. The present administration has lost, either through termination or those leaving, 11 department heads. That probably sets some history in the city of Niagara Falls. I don't ever remember in my 30 years of attending council meetings and serving in government anyone ever having a record such as that. That is uncalled for too. When you make your selection of your department heads and you have qualified personnel in place, everything should run smoothly. Not that there can't always be one or two that do not satisfy and you find are not loyal to the government, but not 11 people in 3.5 years. We need jobs. We're in desperate need of jobs with a good wage to allow our young families to remain in this city, to buy homes, and establish a good, solid tax base for the city. This is something also that has been lacking in any planning for the city. We have a great demolition program, but we do not have a program set up to fill those lots in with new homes and make them available to those young families who would like to locate in the city of Niagara Falls. My years in service in government, and I'm into my 3rd term now on the city council, have proven that I am responsive to you, the citizen. I'm honest, and I have integrity. And I think that this word has to go out when a new mayor is elected, such as myself, that we do have ethics in government in the city of Niagara Falls, and we are responsive, not only to our own citizens, but to those that we would hope would come into our city and develop or locate a business here. This is what I'm telling you now. This is my pledge to you. This is what you will see January 1st, 2000, when I'm elected to serve as your representative and the chief executive of the city of Niagara Falls, your mayor.